Hi, Nokut. How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So, can you tell us something about yourself?
Mhm. Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to be interviewed by you. My name is Nokodborio, and I'm a fresher, and I've just concluded my training at Testify. During the course of my training, I was introduced to manual testing. Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was introduced to manual testing where I was able to create text, various test documents like test case documents, test reports, bug reports, and then summary reports. And
Mhm.
I was also introduced to some management tools like Jira, where I was able to log in some bugs, create epics, and then also do the timing estimate for each task using the poker planner method of estimating time. And then also I was introduced to automation testing using Selenium WebDriver. And at the end of the program, I was able to automate an e-commerce website from the login page to the checkout page using Selenium WebDriver with Java, just an introductory part of it. And then also I was introduced to API testing, where I
Mm.
was able to get responses from a request or endpoints, either 200, 400, or whatever response I might be able to get to assert it. And I think that is all. I'm a graduate of computer science.
Great, great.
So thank you.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Now, let
Thank you,
us
sir.
move to few of the questions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, you were telling, you know about test estimation. How would you be giving the estimation? How much time do you need for testing that user story? You have understood that using poker planning, you were telling. So, what is
Yes,
poker
sir.
planning?
Okay, so forecast planning is a way of estimating the resources that will be needed in a project. Like
Mm.
maybe there will be a developer, and there will be the test team, there will be a project manager, and then like the agile team. So maybe we say, okay, automate the login page.
Mm.
If we give the test, then each person among the team will say, okay, it's going to take 2 hours or it's going to take 2 days for us to complete this task. Then at the end of the day, we take the average. And if there's someone that maybe everyone said it's going to take 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, and then someone said 8 days, which is way up beyond the average. We'll now ask him that why did he say it's going to take 8 days for him to
Mm.
automate that? Then we'll hear from him if it's justifiable. Then we'll now go over it again and we come to a final decision regarding that. And that's how we get the estimates.
Correct, correct. Now, considering the same situation, let's say you have to test the search functionality. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it's coming up. It's visible.
Yeah. Now you have to test the search functionality. So how much time would you take to test this functionality? How would you give test estimation? Hmm.
Okay, I will give it, since it's just a simple search box, I will say um 2 hours.
2 hours
Yes, for manual testing.
from manual testing. Yes, yes, from manual testing
Yes,
point of view, it
for
will take
manual
two
testing.
hours. You are telling.
Yes,
Okay.
to take
So
two
in
hours
those,
because
right. Now in those 2 hours, what are the different activities that you would do?
okay, so first I will verify that after logging on to Flipkart, the the search box is actually visible. I can
Mhm.
see it. That is one. Then secondly, I will check the placeholder. Is the placeholder very descriptive to everybody? Can everybody read what it says? Search for product and brand. Is that visible? Then I will now do security testing. I will type maybe an SQL code, maybe script, less than script and some special character into it, and see if it's going to accept that. If you accept that, I know that okay, that's there's a security breach or security bug there.
Mm-hmm.
Then also I will search for a product that I know is not on the website. Maybe this Flipkart, maybe I'll search for a product that I know is not on the website and see whether it's going to return a random product for me, or it's going to say product not found. And then I will check if there's from viewing the website, I can't see a submit button
Mm-hmm.
on it.
So,
So maybe when you type, it will bring up suggestion for you and you press
yes,
enter.
yes. So let's say if I'm typing something here, let's say if I type mobiles,
Mm,
right? So automatically it
yes.
will go and search there.
Okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
The search
Okay.
icon is by the side.
Right, right.
Okay.
Search icon is there on
Yes.
the right side, but earlier, if you'll see when I'm launching this
When
web,
you search,
it's coming on the left
yes,
side, right?
yes. So yes, so
Mm.
I'll also test that. Then
Mm.
um what other also search apart from special characters, I will search numbers too and see how it will return the values for me. Just numbers or just maybe just space and press enter and see what it will return to me. So those are the tests I will perform on that.
Correct. So,
Mm.
what you were telling is about the test scenarios, which are the different test scenarios, which are the different test cases that you would be
Yeah.
executing.
Yes, sir.
Now, the question is, which are the different testing activities that you do? So you remember the question that I asked you was about the estimation. You told 2 hours,
Yeah.
right? So in
Yeah.
2 hours, what all activities you would do? So first is you would understand the requirement. You'll go through the user story in Jira.
Mhm.
You're aware about
Yes.
Jira, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
You'll go through the user story. There are acceptance criteria points written in that user story. What are the expectations from the end user, from the customer point?
Actual.
Yes. So those things you would go through and you will design your test cases. You'll write the test cases. Okay, this is one
Yes,
of the
yes, sir.
activity. So requirement analysis, test case writing is second activity. And third activity is getting your test cases reviewed by your leads or by your managers. Once your test cases are reviewed, then and then only you would start testing. And again, the build should be available.
Yes.
So within these 2 hours, do you think you would be able to do all these things? Not.
Yes, I'll be able to
You would
do
be.
it for search.
Okay. So let's say
Yes.
if you are trying for 2 hours, if you are given 2 hours, okay. So keep that condition also with you, a star-based condition that you should have that functionality available to you for testing as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It should not happen that
Yes.
the build or the release itself is not available to you. Then what would
Available.
you do, right? So those kind of things you have to take care. Okay.
Okay.
Now tell me one thing. So see, earlier you were not able to see the search option here. Hmm?
Yes.
Now search option is here. It's a magnifying lens you can see here. The
Yes.
moment I'm entering anything, let's say I entered mobiles, the search option is coming to the right hand side. Do you think this is a
Yes.
defect or not?
No, I
It's
don't
not a
think it's a
defect.
defect.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, great. So this is a UI UX thing that they have handled accordingly, right? And
Yes.
yes, it's not a
Yes.
defect. Okay, now tell me, what do you mean by bug life cycle?
The bug life cycle is the process we follow when we want to fix a bug, from when a tester reports the bug and he logs the bug, and then the developer will try to reproduce the the bug, and then it will move to pending when the
Hmm,
developer is working on it, then to move to when it has been fixed, then we will do what we call retesting for that particular bug. And once it has been tested and confirmed, we now move to resolve. So that's the process we follow in the bug life cycle to
right,
resolve it.
right. So in a bug
Mm.
life cycle, whenever you will log the bug, the status would be new. If the bug is
Mm.
accepted, the status would be moved to open. And generally, what would happen in the
Okay.
companies is you will not be directly assigning the bug to the developer. You would be assigning to the developer leads, or let's say your QA leads. And then even if those defects are fixed, they will be assigned to your QA leads to avoid any kind of confusions. Let's say you are assigning it directly to a developer, and that developer is a very junior member. He
mm,
what he did is he didn't go through the requirement, and the bug was also not valid. He made some changes, and automatically there is a change in the system now, right? So
mm,
what happens is people in so companies, they will assign those defects to their leads. And so
okay,
once it is
okay,
assigned, the status is assigned, then the bug is being fixed. So when it has been fixed, it is under progress, right? The fixing is in progress, maybe
mm,
40%, 50%. So it is in
mm,
progress status. When the bug is completely fixed, the status is changed to fixed status, or you can also say as dev complete. And then it will be assigned to you. And
mm,
once you are testing it and it is working fine, you will mark that defect as verified. Or if it is not working fine, then you will reopen that particular defect, right? So that's what you will do when you
yes,
are getting the fix which is working properly or not working properly, right? So those things you have to tell.
mm,
Okay.
yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. What is the difference between use case and user story?
Use case.
Yeah. What is the difference between use case and a user story?
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. User story. Let me start from user story. User story is the requirements we get
Hmm.
from the user. Like, okay, he said, I want my website to be able to accept only document file, not PDF or other file extension, just document. So that's the user story, his
Hmm.
requirements and what he wants the website to do. And then use case is I can say maybe is um maybe a sample data that we want to use to test particular feature. I'm not
Hmm.
very sure of that, but I think it's around using a sample data to test a particular function or feature.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain it to you.
Yes.
Now, what is the difference
Okay.
between user story and a use case? See, is my screen visible?
Mhm.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what is use case? So use case is something that is very detailed. It is documented in the functional requirement document, right? And yes, it takes a lot of time to document those things because there is a lot of conversation happening between the business analyst, the project managers, and then they'll come up with some particular use case. Okay, this is how I'll be using this software. This is how the end user would be using this software.
Mhm.
The format of the use case has use case name. What is that use case about? The description, precondition, post-condition, basic path, alternative path, and exception path. So basic path, that is the happy path, that is the happy flow, how it would be working in an application. Alternative is if there is any other flow to achieve the same functionality. Exception is in case of negative scenarios. If something happens, if some exception comes up,
Mhm.
then what would you do?
Mhm.
So that is use case. Okay. Now, what are user stories?
Mhm.
So user stories are something that are used in agile methodology. So you remember we were discussing about that question, acceptance criteria. So every user story will have this acceptance criteria with you. It is something that you can document it in the Jira tool, or in some companies they are also using Confluence to write user stories. The format is,
Yes.
as an
Documentation.
end user, I want this particular functionality so that
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
particular goal is being achieved. You will have acceptance criteria. The acceptance criteria,
Mhm.
again, you will have to check whether it is dealing only with the functional requirements or it is dealing with the non-functional requirements as well. Sometimes the
Mhm.
non-functional requirements, or you can say the NFRs, are also written in the acceptance criteria, that this particular screen is there. So this screen should get loaded in, let's say, 2 seconds, 4 seconds. It depends on
Mhm.
the requirement,
Mhm.
right? So those kind of acceptance criteria are given with respect to prerequisite when an end
Mhm.
user is using then what is the
Okay.
outcome,
Mm, mm,
supporting model. So those things are covered in use cases and in user stories. So this is the basic
understood.
difference between the two.
Okay. Mm,
Okay,
mm.
great. Okay, what is the difference between unit testing and integration testing?
Okay, so unit testing is usually performed by the developer during developing. So he tests each feature, each module he has designed or he has developed or he has code. He will test it on his own end. Then you said system testing or
Integration testing, unit
uh,
testing and
okay,
integration.
integration.
Yeah.
Okay, integration testing is when we are done, when the developer is done with the different units, he will now merge it to form a single whole system. So we'll now test the integration testing, whether those various units are working correctly and both all units are working correctly.
Mm,
So the tester will now perform the integration testing.
correct. Now consider a situation. Let me share my screen. So there is a scenario wherein you have to test one user story, and that user stories testing you have to perform in 5 days. You have given 5 days for testing that particular user story as your estimation, as your test estimation. Now what happens is s- the day third has passed and you are performing testing. The testing is in progress, and now day fourth has also passed. Still, you are getting defects. The functionality is not working fine. Okay, you are getting defects. You're not getting confidence about that particular user story, whether all the things would be working fine. Because if all the things are working fine, then and then only you would be able to sign off that particular user story, right? So, still, it's been day fourth of your testing, and still you are getting the defects. The functionality is not working. Now, what will you do in this situation?
Okay. So I will first before I I get to D4, I must have been in communication with the developer to see how if he's having any challenge or
Mm,
there's any problem with him. But still, if we are still on the fourth day and no progress, most of the features are still having defect,
mm,
I will report the issue to my the test manager, the test QA
correct.
manager, and then inform him about the situation that we might not be able to meet the deadline. And if by the fifth day we are
Mm,
still not satisfied, we are not going to give approval for the product to be shipped out because we still have defect on it. So
mm,
after reporting that to my manager, we'll see how maybe we can have extension of time because we can't ship out products that has defects. So you have to make sure it's being fixed.
mm.
So that is how I will handle the situation. So
Yes, yes. So that's a correct approach. You will approach your manager on the day fourth itself, and you will highlight such kind of issues that the functionality is not stable yet. The flow, the happy path itself is not working. So there is a risk with respect to this user story. The more earlier you will highlight the risk, the more good it is. And what I would suggest is first day you can do the testing, but second day also you can do the testing. In third day, still you are not seeing the stability. So you should start highlighting from the third day
that's
itself
highlighting.
that
Yes.
we are not getting stability, we are not getting confidence. Yes. And one more point you are telling that you will have a word with the developer why he's struggling. So that's also a very good thing. You are collaborating. You should collaborate with your development team because you never know. Sometimes coordination, collaboration might makes up the things going in the easygoing direction, right? So yes, that's a good thing. So correct answer. Now let's twist this scenario a bit. Hmm. Okay. See. Okay. So there are 5 days assigned for one particular user story. Day
mm,
3 has passed, and still you haven't received the build for testing that particular user story. Then what will you do? And your manager is also on leave this time.
mm. I think I will still have to meet the developer directly and ask him about the build for me to be able to start testing on time. So I think a good way of communicating with him,
Hmm.
and then I'll first find out what's the problem, if why he hasn't sent the build yet. So when I know and understand the problem, I'll be able to navigate and maybe help him resolve the problem or inform our maybe project manager about the issue.
Right. So you can inform the project manager, and what I would
Mm,
suggest is you can do is the developer would be developing the things on the test environment. So you can at least start your preliminary testing in the dev environment. In the lower environment, you
mm,
have various environments: dev,
mm,
staging, QA environment. Then in some
production.
companies, they do have UAT environment, then production environment. So at least you can start a high level testing in the dev environment, and you can give him a quick feedback. Okay, see,
Mm,
these 10 things I have tested, out of these still 2 things are not working, so please fix them and deploy the build in the QA environment. And
mm,
meanwhile, it is good that you are communicating with the project manager. Also send an email update at the end of the day every day, that see, still we haven't received the build, still we haven't received the build. What should we do? We need to work on the end date of this particular user story.
mm,
It's the real time things. These things do happen in the companies a lot,
okay. Mm,
right?
okay, sir.
Okay. Now,
Sorry, sir. A question. What if you still don't want to give access to the development environment to me?
if they don't give you the access to the development environment.
Yes, the developer, yes.
Hmm. Okay. So you don't have to worry for that. You can raise a escalation to the project manager in that case.
Project manager. Okay, okay.
As you are a tester and you are working in that company, so you should have
Mm,
access to those environments.
project, yes, sir.
And accessing that access of that environment would require just your credentials access to that particular environment, which either you do by yourself, or even the developer can do, or even some IT person can do. In some companies, you might have to raise an IT ticket as well. So that is
Mm,
something, before the project starts, your credentials, your access accounts, your things would be created in all those environments. Okay. Now, coming to the next question. So again, you have a single user story and you have 5 days for testing. On the day fifth, you have found the blocker defect in the user story which you are testing. So what would you do?
mm. So I will still stand by my words of not releasing a
Mm,
faulty or rectify the user story from the user. Then so we still have, since we have a blocker, we still need to contact the user and get the user story cleared out.
mm.
Then we now continue
All right.
from
Let's
there.
say
Mm,
you have a blocker defect in the user story on the very last day.
mm,
So you will have a word with your manager, you will have a working session with your developer. You'll ask him to fix right away, and you will ensure that you are retesting it, you are performing regression testing thoroughly,
mm,
so that this defect is no longer open and it does not impact the other user stories also, right?
mm.
That is that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the difference? We discussed about two types of testing here. We discussed about retesting, regression testing. So what is the difference between the two, retesting versus regression testing?
Okay, so regression testing is after a bug has been fixed and we receive the updates from the developers. we will have to test the entire system so that possibly the login page was having an issue, and we fix that. And then the login difference in code. So we have to test the entire,
Correct.
not introduce a new problem into the system or a new bug.
Mm.
Then that is regression testing. Then retesting is just testing maybe just the login feature that has been
Mm.
fixed, just that, and that will be
Absolutely.
all.
Retesting is when you are logging a defect and then the defect is getting fixed, you are again retesting it in the new build. While regression
Mm.
testing is something which you will be doing to ensure that the fixes that are there done in the system does not impacts your
Something. Mm.
existing functionality. Okay, so
Mm.
that is regression testing. Okay, okay. When will you do smoke testing?
Okay, so smoke testing is usually done at a high level. Maybe
Mm,
we don't have time, so we just perform a smoke testing. Just like you just fix your engine in your car, and you just start it and say, okay, the car is actually starting and moving. You won't want to check it of that. So just like testing at the high level, maybe due to time constraint, and you won't go into deep into different aspects, just at a high level.
okay. Now, what is the difference between ad hoc testing and exploratory testing?
So exploratory testing, right?
Mm,
So exploratory testing is a kind of testing that we do when we don't have much a particular pattern of testing. We just test randomly just to see various functions and how the various functions are working. So we don't have a specific pattern or a specific document we are following to test, maybe user story, or that we don't have that, just to test the application at just random application testing. Then you said the second one is
ad hoc testing.
okay, ad hoc testing. So
Mm,
ad hoc testing is the testing that we is also similar to exploratory testing, but in ad hoc testing we have a particular team that will perform the testing for us based on our requirements. Maybe like an outside team, not uh, part of the tester, just outside team to just test the product for us.
mhm. See, I'll tell you the difference between the two. So if
Okay.
you get this question in a real-time interview, then you can tell in this manner. See,
Okay.
ad hoc testing is unstructured, right? You don't have any formal process for ad hoc testing, whereas exploratory testing is structured. In ad hoc
Okay.
testing, you won't be planning anything. There is no documentation. But in exploratory testing, once you have done the testing, you will be doing documentation. You will be documenting all the things along with you. So as to ensure
Mm.
that next time you don't have to again do exploratory testing. You have understood
Mm.
the flow of the application, you have understood the flow of the software, and now you are moving to the next level. Then
Okay.
in ad hoc testing, we are very much dependent on the tester's intuition, right? How he's thinking, in what direction it is thinking. That is very important. In
Mm.
exploratory testing, it combines both intuition as well as systematic exploration. So when I say systematic exploration means, let's say you have to test one Flipkart based website, which is an e-commerce domain website. So what you would do, you don't have documentation for that. So you would refer other websites of the same domain, and then you'll start your
Okay.
testing. That's
Okay.
the difference. Flexibility. So ad hoc testing is flexible and it is spontaneous, right?
Mm.
It is
Mm.
hard to reproduce those tests. It is hard to
Mm.
repeat what you did because you didn't
Mm.
document anything.
Unstructured, yes, yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
unstructured.
Mm.
Whereas in
Mm.
exploratory testing, the repeatability is moderate and it is good because you have got good documentation,
Documentation.
right? So outcome is, if you see from the ad hoc testing, you get immediate feedback. But in
mm,
exploratory testing, the advantage is you are improving the test case coverage, you are improving the coverage, you are learning about the application. So that is very important,
mm,
right? So
mm.
that is exploratory testing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now let me go to this website again. Now I want you to tell me few of the non-functional test scenarios for this website. So in this website, you have got search functionality. So you are supposed to tell me non-functional test scenarios for this search functionality.
Okay,
Hmm.
the non-functional for the okay. First, I will check if the placeholder is descriptive enough, like the search for product brands and more. I will check if it's been visible on all devices. That's a non-functional test for user experience and accessibility. Then I'll also check on mobile view. How is the search, the search box? Is it visible on mobile?
Mobile view.
And
Okay. Auto rotate
yes,
mode and
mobile.
without auto rotate mode, you are telling. Okay.
Yes, I will
Hmm.
check that, and then also I will check when I'm typing the text in it. Is sometimes some search box it will cut the text into half. You won't see the complete text. So I will check is capturing the entire text uh inside the box, which is user increase user experience. And then mm,
See, when you are being asked non-functional test scenarios, that means you have to tell something from the performance point of view. How much time
yes.
does it takes to load? How much time does it takes to display the results? For example, you
Mm,
entered some product or any brand or something here. How much time did the search results display?
yes,
How
yes.
much time did it took? If it is already mentioned in the acceptance criteria of the user story, then accordingly you will have your expected result in the test case. But if it is not mentioned, then it is our responsibility to get it clarified from the client side or from the stakeholder side. So how much time is it taking? And on different browsers, then you will test. You will test on mobiles also. How much time is it taking? So time period, then the search you can also test if you tell about
Security too.
non-functional. Yeah, security
Mm,
you can also test.
mm,
Then with
mm,
concurrent users, if there are 90, 100 concurrent users accessing the search
mm,
functionality, how much time
performance.
is it taking, right?
Mm,
So that's how you
mm,
can test this non-functional scenarios, right?
mm,
Okay, no code. I'm done with
mm,
the interview. Do you have any questions for
mm.
me?
Okay, so thank you for the opportunity and also the clarification you did on some parts of the questions. And then also I would like to have a feedback so that I will work
Sure.
on it for my next one.
Right, right. So, I'm very happy to connect with you. You know, it has been
Mm,
long. I didn't connect anyone from Nigeria, but
mm,
I came to know that you are from Nigeria, so I was glad.
mm,
The
mm,
feedback is, see, your basics, your concepts are clear, your fundamentals are clear. What you have to focus is on test scenarios. How can you
mm,
come up with the test scenarios during those interviews?
okay.
Those are important things. Then the difference between the two types, like we covered exploratory versus ad hoc. Similarly, other differences can be asked to you with
Mm,
respect to load versus stress or smoke versus sanity, right? Such kind of differences can be asked you. So you have to revise. Otherwise, as of now, the fundamentals look good, and these kind of non-functional testing scenarios, those can be
mm,
asked to you, right? So be
okay.
prepared with these
Understood.
things,
Understood.
those you would get in an interview. And today it was just 30 minutes, so we could cover
Okay.
only this manual testing. Maybe next time, if you can book, we'll cover automation, and if you want, we'll cover Java
Okay.
or
So I'll book.
Python as well, right? How did you
Mm,
come to know
so
about this channel?
I'll book again. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. How did you? Yeah.
Through you through your YouTube page,
Okay, YouTube, through
your
YouTube.
YouTube channel. Sorry.
Okay, okay, great, great.
Yes. Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Thank you
mm,
and wish you all the best
mm,
for your career.
mm. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
So when will the video be live on YouTube?
Yeah, it would be uploaded in this week itself. Right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm, 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 mm.